Hello everyone. This is Disgruntled Elk back with another League video for you. With the banning of Yorion, I've played around with a ton of different builds, more Mem Knights, less Mem Knights, little interaction, lots of interaction. I've posted a couple lists. And right now, I think this is where I want to be. A couple things you will notice are I'm back on the Paradise Mail. Yeah, that's right. I'm back on my bullshit. I think that the card, like, there are multiple games where being able to grab a 0 mana artifact with either Stoneforge or the one Steel Shaper's Gift can actually win you the game. It'll get you the Metalcraft. Sometimes it lets you, draw an extra card off the Paladin if it's in play. And then, of course, there are the explosive turns where just like, here's a bunch of mana and you can do a lot of different things, including cast the Cauldron. So it's kind of a backdoor way there to do that. And so I did cut the reality chip. I think with the lack of Yorion in the metagame, I don't think the plan D, I think I called it, because plan A is Bonk, plan B is Saga, plan C is Cauldron, and then plan D was reality chip. I don't think we need that backup plan quite as badly. That being said, if there is a ton of blue-white control that gets really popular, then I can see that. That being said, just pressuring your opponent is really good too. So I've liked the Nettle Cyst. It's of the fair equipment right now, I think it's the one I would pick over Sword of Fire and Ice and Reality Chip. I think you can pick any of those and it's fine. I like that it comes with a body, which is really, really relevant. I am on 2 Blacksmith Skills and 2 Spell Pierces. Spell Pierce is really good right now because of all of the creativity running around. Even though I haven't played against much of it, it also can snag a Chalice in game 1. Sometimes that's really important, and usually you'll know if your opponent's on something like that if they're on Kahira. So the card is really live in most matches, and when it's not, then you can board it out. That's why we only have 2. But other than that, pretty stock. I did actually accidentally not record the first match, and so I'm gonna kind of jump into that, and then I'll go through the live recording, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so the rest of the Blacksmith Skills in the sideboard, because the card's just real good. Extra Pierce for your Living End, your blue-white control matchups, things like that. Path to Exile has been a really nice complement as a one-of, because you can bring it in against a bunch of matchups, including the Mirror against Amulet Titan, which I've been running. I don't know if they're playing it differently or if I'm just getting bodied more, but Variance has not been on my side, and I've been getting a lot of Titan just crushing the crap out of me. March of Otherworldly Light, I like 2 a lot right now. I kind of want a 3rd, but I think if I was going to play a 3rd, it would probably just be a Prismatic Ending. Right now, it's really interesting. So Needle, of course, is still locked. Never doing that. And so these are kind of the cards that I'm less sure about. So I think Hushbringer is actually super good. Some people have been cutting it because of lack of Yorion, and I don't think that's unreasonable. I could see myself going down to 2. The problem I run into is I run into a lot of weird noise. So like I'll run in against Hardened Scales or Goblins or Merfolk, and Hushbringer is so good against those decks. Plus, we don't actually have that many things to address the Yawgmoth problem, and Hushbringer can often help kind of bridge that gap for you. And so that's kind of where she lands. Of course, there are a lot of like Karuga decks starting to pop up, and so having the Hushbringers to subdue some of the Solitude Fury shenanigans is really nice. Lavinia, I mean, y'all know my thoughts on Lavinia. She is bae, she is queen. She stops so much nonsense. She's even better now that Leyline Binding is everywhere. So I am hard pressed to go below 3. I'm never going below 2, but with the uptick in specifically Underworld Breach, I could see going down, cutting 1 Lavinia or cutting a Hushbringer for like 1 to 2 Drannith Magistrates, because they are very good in the Living End matchup. Obviously, they stop Living End, like they don't stop Force of Vigor, which is obnoxious, but they do stop the Living End itself, which is usually the biggest problem. And of course, it also stops Rhinos. It's pretty good there, and the bigger butt on it, the 3 toughness, can be relevant against like Dead Gone, Fire and Ice. And so I could totally see myself playing 1 to 2 Dranniths, of course, because it nukes the blue-red Breach deck, or the green-red Breach deck. Both are running around right now. The fact that it stops both both the ability to Underworld Breach, but also Emery from rebuying things, I think is really important. And so those are kind of the considerations, and that's why I could see running 1 to 2 Drannith Magistrate right now, specifically because of the Breach deck. Sanctifier and Vec, this is kind of the card that I could take or leave. I think in a paper metagame, I would not be playing Sanctifier because I don't expect as much Red-Black Scam, as much Jund, those piles of mid-range decks as I do online. I don't think you need this card to beat Murktide. I think as long as you play tight and variance doesn't completely body you, then you're pretty favored, especially with all the blacksmith skills and the needle. And so this could be anything you want. I've bounced around between some Teferis. These could be Drannith Magistrates. These could be, any number of things. I wouldn't hate like a third March and then another Prismatic Ending maybe, just as additional removal. But card's fine. It is really good against the red-black decks, obviously, because it has protection from red and black. I know, I'm really breaking new ground here. And so I think you could play Sanctifier. You don't necessarily have to. But one thing I do want to note about Nettlecyst specifically, and the reasons I have liked it, is because when you are boarding in your Sanctifiers, your Lavinias, your Hushbringers, being able to throw a Nettlecyst on there, even if it's just +2/+2 or +3/+3, that is a huge upgrade, and it makes it to where these creatures are going to survive bolts. They're going to survive all of that. And since Lavinia shuts and Hushbringer stop things like Fury, they're going to survive pretty much everything else. Obviously, Leyline Binding is a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. Additionally, throwing on a Gingerbrute is just chef's kiss. Sometimes, you can't move the hammer around, but having the Nettlecyst means that your Gingerbrute's going to crack in for 4 or 5, sometimes 7, 8, 9 damage. And so, anything that makes Gingerbrute better, I can't be too sad about. The other tweak is because we don't have Reality Chip, there is not as much incentive to play 7 fetch lands. So I trimmed 1 down to 6. So you have your 2/2/2 split because of Needle. And so I trimmed that for 1 Seachrome Coast, keep my blue count as high as possible. And then you will notice I still have the ability to get through those Beseju locks with the 4 planes and the 3 hollowed fountains we can find. I think the marginal life loss you get by having the 3rd hollowed fountain is pretty irrelevant in most matchups. But the ability to get 7 lands in spite of a Ren Beseju lock is really a huge upside to just playing the 7th, so that's kind of where I would land. Also, I don't want to play more than 2 Seachrome Coasts because sometimes they just come in tapped and then you lose the game. But so that's kind of where I'm at. I'll jump into round 1 and go from there, but still a little bit in flux. Pretty happy with the list though, and I will see y'all in round 1. All right, so here we are with the replay of round 1. So lost a die roll, unfortunate. But let's see what we got. Cool. So hand has an Equipper, a Stoneforge, a Giver. Like we have plan A and plan C, right? So we have the ability to equip a hammer quickly because of the 2 artifacts here, and the Stoneforge can get another one. So we have the potential for a very fast kill. We have solid mana, and we have Giver into Stoneforge for Kaldra, if that is the line we end up wanting to take. But yeah, hand's great. Okay, so opponent plays Inkmoth, Zabaz. This can be one deck and one deck only. This is Hardened Scales, and so we want to kill them quickly. They could kill us, I think, as fast as turn 3. Unfortunately, we don't have an Inkmoth or an Inkmoth or a Ornithopter to block, so we need to focus on killing them as soon as possible. Paradise Mantle, pretty nice draw here. It's going to be able to turn on Metalcraft much quicker. It could do a Drum Impersonation, but being able to play a 0 mana artifact that will also draw a card is pretty huge. I lead with Hollowed Fountain because we do have the Spell Pierces in the deck, and then that's basically the whole thought process. Gingerbrute, and I'm totally willing to take this trade if they want to. Zabaz in no world is going to trade, so I'll get the free point of damage. Because Zabaz acts as almost another Hardened Scale, I think it's really important to get it off the board if possible. Unfortunately, they did not take the trade, but here we are. So second Inkmoth Nexus, little scary. But Hangerback Walker, that is not scary, let's say. And so we take 1. Who cares? Okay, so we... All right, we've got a very fast kill here. So there are a couple things you want to keep in mind. They do have Walking Ballista in their deck. That's a usual kill condition. And so that's something you want to keep in mind. Now, it's tough because if we play Paladin here, right? If we play Paladin, Paradise Mantle, we don't have Metalcraft, so we don't have the ability to actually equip. And so we already have 2 hammers in hand. We aren't going to have trouble getting to Metalcraft. It's how do we sequence out our mana for the next 2 turns? Because our goal is kill them next turn, right? And so we end up going ahead and casting the Giver because it's an additional body. And then the Paradise Mantle, and we're just going to equip the Paradise Mantle here. And then we're going to cast the Colossus Hammer. So there you see, Mantle was basically Springleaf Drum, but with Paladin coming down next turn, it generates a lot more mana. And so that's kind of the thought process I had there. We will need 1 more mana, I believe, in order to actually kill them. And right now I'm just kind of... we can't actually die because they don't have the mana to Arcbound Ravager plus throw a bunch of counters on their Inkmoth because they can't animate and do that. So Ozolith, the good news is our opponents are dead. Okay, so we drew Ornithopter. We're going to play out the Ornithopter because why not? We do need to spike a land in order to give the Ginger Brute its haste ability. So we move the Hammer, we move the Mantle to the Giver because we can't just give protection from Colorless to the Giver, the Ginger Brute. Otherwise, the hammers fall off, right? And so we die. So can't do that. So we need to spike a land off of this in order to win because we will absolutely die next turn. They'll sack a bunch of artifacts, the Arcbound Ravager, throw it on an Inkmoth, and then kill us. Okay, and... yes, we will draw a card. And we hit the land. Game's over. Yep, perfect. And so, yeah, get a Plains, give it the can't catch me mode, and 21 the opponent. Okay, cool. So I'll see y'all in game 2. Cool. So for game 2, I caught the Esper Sentinels, 1 because they have a lot of just creature artifacts, but also this is similar to the Hammer Mirror in that you need to interact with their combo pieces. Drawing 1 to 2 extra cards off an Esper Sentinel isn't usually what's going to matter, because if they're letting you draw cards, you're probably just going to be dead. Spell Pierce doesn't answer a lot of their more problematic cards, so decided to cut those. So we cut the Esper Sentinels, the Spell Pierces, 1 Drum and 1 Nettle Cyst. I don't think the Nettle Cyst is going to be where we want it to be in the matchup. And I did bring in the extra skill. They are a green deck, so sometimes they have probably not Force of Vigor, but they could have Beseiju, things like that. And so, yeah. So that's kind of where we landed on things. Cool. So just for clarity, we went ahead and added the skill, the 3 Hushbringers. Hushbringers are really good because when creatures die, that's when they get to modular things over. So Arcbound Ravager, when it eats something and it sacrifices, if that creature has modular, it will move the counters. Modular says when this creature dies. And so because Hushbringer turns that ability off, it means that they can't really modular trick you. It's also a flying body, which can be really relevant against the Inkmoth kills. And yeah, so that's the primary reason. Pithing Needle is great because they have Walking Ballista, they have Ravager, they have Inkmoth Nexus, a lot of things to name there. March of Otherworldly Light's insane because it kills Saga, it kills Inkmoth Nexus, it kills every permanent in their deck because all of it's going to cost like 1, 0, and 2. And then Path to Exile is just a catch-all removal spell. Yeah, cool. So that's kind of how we boarded. We cut the Esper Sentinels, like I said. 1 Drum. I ordinarily would probably cut an Ornithopter, but having the extra flying body is really, really important in this matchup, I think. Cool. So back again. Let's see what's going on. Of course, we're on the draw. And so yeah, this hand has a hate card, a pile of Urza Sagas that can grab all sorts of things, and a way to equip a hammer. This is pretty straightforward keep. It's a little land heavy, but because 3 of them are Urza Saga, it makes it a little simpler. The only question I have is my second land going to be Inkmoth or Urza Saga? So opponent did mulligan to 5, which never going to be sad when the opponent mulligans. But this puts us in great shape. Okay, Hardened Scales is exactly where they want to start. Drew a Plains, so now we can definitely cast this Paladin whenever we want. Arcbound Ravager, that is a powerful card. So we need to get the Hushbringer into play immediately. So the question is, do we lead with Saga or Inkmoth? And I think it's close, but I think leading with Saga, because we don't care about getting as much mana out of it, we care about just getting the artifacts, like getting Pithing Needle down as soon as possible is a really big game. I think that's fine. It is also going to help us build Metalcraft earlier for the Pure Steel Paladin. Because while we do want to make sure they don't combo kill us, it is important that we also pressure them, which is what this Inkmoth and Pure Steel combo can do pretty quickly, obviously. Okay, and so they have Inkmoth. Luckily, we have basically, so with Hushbringer in play, they cannot Ravager without, like, they can't move the counters onto the Inkmoth because the modular will not trigger. So it says specifically when it dies, right? When it dies, you may put its counters on target artifact creature. Because that won't trigger, nothing happens. We will not take the trade because it's not even a trade. We'll just take our 2 damage. Okay. Walking Ballista, not super happy about that because it can actually kill the Hushbringer. And so here, what are we grabbing? Yeah, so we're playing out the Ornithopter. That part's easy, right? And we play the Inkmoth. It's primarily because now we will have more white mana up next turn if that's what we need. So now we can make a construct on their end step and then make another construct during our draw or during our main phase 1 when chapter 3 goes on the stack. And then if we wanted to get like a drum, we would then have white for the Paladin. But we shall see what happens. And so, I mean, we attack, right? Because we're not blocking with the Hushbringer. Might as well get a point of life back. And from there, we're just kind of chilling. Luckily, they have to do a lot to kind of get the Hushbringer off the table. Unfortunately, they did have a land, meaning that they can put a couple counters on the Walking Ballista. And so here, and I think this was correct, I'm not sure, but making the construct and blocking means that they can't remove 2 counters to kill the Hushbringer without also losing the Walking Ballista, right? Because they put 2 counters on it, but then if they remove the counters at any point, then state-based actions check, and it will die because it has 2 damage marked on it and it has 2 toughness. With that in mind, and I'm also kind of hoping that the opponent lets this Urza Saga go off because that means we get the needle and just name Walking Ballista. Okay. I do decide to make a construct, and it's possible I was not supposed to do that, but we will see. Because there's a chance that if we did not make the construct, then opponent ends up in a spot where they don't activate their Walking Ballista. We go get a needle and kind of go about that way. That being said, they can throw a bunch of counters on the Inkmoth if they choose to. Okay, so we grab a needle and we do name Walking Ballista because Walking Ballista, basically we have a turn at least coverage from the Inkmoth. So if they, sacked the Arcbound Ravager and they draw like a Hangerback Walker or something, they could potentially kill us, I think. I'm not good at Hardened Scales math. But because we have the Ornithopter, we're able to chump block at least for a turn. And so shutting off their Walking Ballista is a really big game. Playing the Gingerbread out primarily just to use our mana and grow our construct a little bit. Because now the construct can block the Walking Ballista very safely. Okay, Patchwork Automaton, not really the scary card. Okay, March is a really good draw. Obviously, we're not going to kill the Patchwork, but Walking Ballista, its mana value is 0. So we get to do that for a single mana. That being said, there's no reason for us to do it right now. I'm playing the Inkmoth instead of the Plains here for the reason I stated before, because if you're gonna want that white on your turn, then you want to basically hold your extra white mana. Okay, so just hit him for 4. The reason I hit him for 4 and don't animate anything is I don't need to. This game's going to be about hitting for a chunk of like 10 plus damage, not chipping in for an extra 1 or 2 points here. Okay, so they Nature's Claim the Pithing Needle, that's a card that I was potentially worried about, which is why I brought in the Blacksmith Skills. That being said, they are going after the needle. So in response, I go ahead and march their Walking Ballista. They do not have a time to, do anything with it. They can sacrifice it to the Arcbound Ravager, and that's fine. Needle's down. They're empty-handed, and their Walking Ballista's down as well. So they're going to have a lot of trouble kind of getting in. And next turn, we're going to be able to get a hammer, and depending on what they do, kill them. Okay. So I don't know why they did this. I think they were just kind of hoping I would mess it up. So yeah, I block with the Ornithopter. They end up not sacrificing anything, which I get, but I don't think is correct. Because now the Ornithopter is just going to block again the following turn. And they're tapped out, so they are dead. Because I believe, so this costs a white to gain flying, meaning that they can just die to our Inkmoth kill. So we make a construct, no reason not to. We're going to get to untap. Ooh, cool, an Ornithopter. And this was just a misplay, I believe. So yeah, if I had just gone Paladin, activate, equip, activate again, yeah, they're dead. But I just didn't realize it, and it didn't matter that much because I don't know what draw step they could have to make this matter. So they can make the Ravager into a 7/7 and then a 9/9, but we can also just animate both of these Inkmoths and kill the Ravager. Yep. Yeah, because the Ornithopter got to stick around and we drew another Ornithopter, I felt pretty safe. So they ended up sacrificing the Inkmoth to the Arcbound Ravager, and that means this game is absolutely 1000% over. Because they have no way to kill me at any point. Okay, so they play the Ozolith. Who cares? But yeah, I absolutely could have killed them last turn. I don't think I realized they were empty-handed. But yeah, Pure Steel, throw it on the Ginger Brute, activate the Ginger Brute, kill them. Yeah, so that's match 1, and I'll see y'all in the rest of the matches, which will be live commentary. Take care. All right, and here we are for round 2. We did win the die roll, so that's like pretty awesome. This is a mulligan because we have 1 land. This is a keep. Kind of have to keep both, like all 3 mana sources, I think. It's probably keep and put back. It's either put back Pierce or Ornithopter. I'm inclined to put back Pierce because I kind of want to just go Saga, Drum, Ornithopter, Esper Sentinel. If they have exactly Fury, I think I'm over. All right, yeah. Try to go real aggressive, especially since we're on the play. Cool. There we go. And Sentinel. All right. Pretty strong start. Can start making constructs on turn 2 that will be 4/4s. Pretty good. Okay. Ignoble Hierarch, so probably Goblins would be my guess. That's not a bad follow-up either. So we just get to attack for free here with the Sentinel. Take 1. And yeah, we're just going to see, I think, if we can just run them over. Yeah, looks like Goblins to me. Blood Moon, ew. Okay, that's not bad. So we will make a construct here. And honestly, thanks to the drum, we're not actually in that bad a shape. White Source? It's not bad. So we can go Stoneforge, go get Hammer, or we can go Giver, Gingerbrute, hit him for, let's see, 5, 6, 7. I don't hate any of this. We could also get a Nettle Cyst, which is not a bad spot to be. But I almost do like just going like Giver, Gingerbrute, and then we also have coverage against, like we can then go get a Cauldra if need be with Stoneforge because we'll have the Giver protection. See, I think that's what I'm going to do. Attack for 7. No, I'm dumb. No, that's not the one I want. There we go. I'm smart. I was like, no, we did talk about exactly this. Okay, so they had Forest. Seasoned Pyro, that's fine. Okay, so now I think Stoneforge is just going to go get Shadow Spear. Okay. Yeah, so I'll play out the Thopter since it does grow the Construct. And it's a question of, do we pro the Construct to get in for 6 damage? We could also go Stoneforge. To grab a Drum, which does guarantee us another white source for the Paladin. I think it's almost definitely just getting a Nettle Cyst here, though. Yeah, pro red, so this forces them to block with their Ignoble, unless they want to take 6. Oh, they just want to take 6, okay. And I don't really want to block with the Sentinel, but I think I want to block with the Gingerbrute even less. So, yeah, I don't hate getting a Nettle Cyst here. It's either Nettle Cyst or Shadow Spear, I think. Obviously, if we hit a white source. So it's Nettle Cyst. Honestly, I could probably pick a random and be fine with that. Nettle Cyst also does a ton of work because we can just strap up an Ornithopter with it. They're unlikely to have flyers. It also can go on the Gingerbrute really effectively. Goyf, not scary. Okay. Well, I think we just bash in with this Construct and go pro red. Yeah, it's probably fine because we can always flash in this. Go pro red since I don't really want that Pyro going in the yard anyway. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Besage you. Okay, deal. Yes. Go get a Plains. Oh wow. I feel like we're probably still supposed to flash in the Cyst because we can still just pure steel plus hammer next turn. We will be shy of Gingerbruting them. I mean, we can always just move the Cyst, right, for free. Pretty fine with this. They have 2 cards in hand, just a red mana up. Seems pretty challenging. Okay, sure. Lightning Bolt the Giver? I would in fact like to draw a card. I don't think they know they're dead because none of their creatures have haste. Does it matter? No, nothing matters, right? Because none of their creatures have haste. We can just move the Nettle Cyst. Huge. Yeah, it's 6. They are wild. All right, might as well grow it. They also don't even have any flyers, so it doesn't matter. This is probably more optimal. Can't be blocked. Yeah, okay, cool. Pretty good. Okay, so they are a Blood Moon deck, but they have mostly creatures, so it's probably like a Fury Seasoned Pyro. So Hushbringer is certainly good. Sanctifier is a consideration. Then maybe Needle, because they're almost guaranteed to have EE. I think we trim a couple Thopters. I think Sentinel's actually pretty poor, so that's 6 out. I'm not super high on these Pierces either, honestly. I don't mind a couple skills though. So the other advantage to cutting Pierce is then we can like really aggressively fetch basics, which is kind of what we want to do anyway. We could also consider a couple Marches. Maybe we don't need 3 Hushbringers. Maybe like 1 or 2 is fine. We probably don't need the gift, probably just do the march. Yeah, having the marches as a way to deal with an early Ragavan is also nice in case they're on that plan. We shall see. The old red-green Ponza. Okay, this hand's very good. I mean, it's not insane, but it's quite good. So we have an Equipper. We aren't going to get doused by Blood Moon because we have 2 white sources since we're going to fetch pretty aggressively. We're going to Plains here. And I think we play Thopter. If they want to kill the Thopter, is it a dead Ornithopter? Looks like it. So this next turn, I think I'm just going to go Urza's Saga, Stoneforge, and then go get a Hammer, because that really incentivizes them to Blood Moon us. And then we get to follow up with like just Paladin. Didn't really want a second one, but here we are. So yeah, let's just get a Hammer. All right, do you have a Blood Moon opponent? I'm pretty happy with this, honestly. They're 2 for 1ing themselves to get rid of the Stoneforge. Sure. Got back Windswept Heath. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna make a construct. I don't think we need to run anything out. Plus the Paladin is a really nice follow-up. We can also grab a Needle if we like absolutely need to find something, right? Yeah, because we brought in the Needle. What did they pitch to the Fury? Another Fury. Kind of love that for me. All right. Bloodbraid. Make us the moon. All right. Make a construct. Yeah, so now we get to go Paladin, put a hammer on Paladin, draw a card. Oh, okay. I think that's like the one exception here. Let's go Sanctifier here. And now we can also, I'm trying to think. I don't think it makes a difference on if we hammer now or not, because it does have pro red. I don't think it does. I think I'd almost rather just take the card. Sure, another block. Okay, they can block now. That's pretty cool for them. It is awkward that they can't really attack us. I will block one. I will boldly block. Obviously, if they have 2 mana up, they can Bone Crusher us, potentially do things. But I think I'm just gonna lead. So I can't Besage us here. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this now, because now if we spike a like something good off the top, that's not really it, but it's not my favorite. Kind of force the block here, right? I guess it doesn't force the block. I think I do play out the Ornithopter. Fine with this. Because now also if we happen to find another equipment that is not named exactly Cauldron Complete, we're in really good shape, because then we have 2 attackers that can get in for a bunch of damage. Okay. The combo between not being able to fetch with Ren and with the Blood Moon in play is a little funny. It's not a bad one. I don't think there's a reason to do it though. I think I'm just gonna attack. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit them for 12, hopefully. And I think I will actually play this Hushbringer. One, it stops a Fury from killing the Paladin, but it is also a flying attacker, which is relevant because then they're only 2 chip shots away from dying. Yeah, so pretty glad I cut all the all the Esper Sentinels. They seem pretty bad. Okay, opponent, you have 1 billion mana. Yep, get nothing back. Sure. You have successfully killed my... So do they have a flash blocker here? So yeah, we just attack with the Sanctifier. So the only thing I can think of is if they have like exactly... So I think we swing the Hushbringer at Ren and the Sanctifier at them. The only thing I can think of is if they have like green card and they put Endurance in their deck, they can flash in the Endurance because the Hushbringer won't cause it to die, but then they have to block the Sanctifier. Yeah, okay. And this will be able to exile it before attacks. And I don't want the Ren to ultimate, ideally. And I don't really want to throw the Paladin under the bus, if possible. Okay. Yeah, they just didn't have anything. All right, but I'll see y'all in round 3. All right, and we are back for round 3 with a quick kill. Yeah, I mean, we keep this hand. All right, we gonna get Thoughtseize? No. Unlucky Witness, so it's a sack deck probably, if I had to guess. So it is very tempting to lead with Giver, but if they have a discard spell, they just take the hammer then anyway. Yeah, we'll just play the Giver. This sets up a really nice turn 3 kill with the Ink Moth as well. Bombardment, sure. That is super obnoxious, not gonna lie. Okay, so we can go Ink Moth, Aid. As much as I would like to get the Sentinel in, I think I want to give them as little time as possible to get things going. But you don't have to pick, okay. Oh, that's less than and I don't think I'm gonna go for the kill here because they could just have like a bolt. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so I think we just go pure steel here. And being able to protect the steel is pretty nice. It does make me want to step, so it doesn't matter if we do it now. Terminate. Okay, well, I'm gonna flash this in. We get a card out of it if nothing else, and no reason not to. It's possible that was a little aggressive, but I don't hate forcing them to have another terminate. We also have a lot of live draws here, so we can like triple spell this turn. Pyro, that's fine. These things all have trouble answering Giant Paladin. Okay, cute. Can't block, right? Yeah. So we just need to find a way to punch through. So, all right, yeah. I think I will just kind of play everything out. I don't think there's a reason to attack because they can just like block sack, right? So I'm not super worried about mana. Okay, and just pass the turn. Yeah, so any way to punch through is ideal. If we draw a blacksmith skill, then we can kill them that way too, because we can skill the Ink Moth before we animate it. Pretty nice. Can't really let me untap either. Hopefully we just draw like something along those lines. That's pretty gross. We're very likely to lose now. That is a pretty unfortunate series of draws we had. Maybe I was supposed to just push the advantage when I could. But yeah, we're just going to take this hit. Yeah, with the Mayhem Devil in play, I don't think we can win from here. Unless we draw like, no, because they can just kill us on the next attack. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they're like shy of killing us. Yep. All right. Cool. All right. So skill's pretty good. I don't think Pierce is where we want to be. Needle's pretty good. March is pretty good. Sanctifier actually seems like really insane here. And Path, these are probably the cards I consider the most. Nettle Cyst is fine, but not great. I feel like they're going to be plinking my idiots down, so I don't want that. Esper Sentinel also seems like pretty poor. I think I actually do want the gift. Want the givers for sure. This might actually be the one matchup where I don't want Gingerbrute because they can just plink it down so easily. That makes me sad. And probably trim like 1 Drum, 1 Thopter. Call it a day there. Cards that I cut. Okay, so what do we bring back in? Probably fine with like, I'll bring the Gingerbrute back in because if they don't have that going, then we're in good shape. Could also like do a couple Hushbringer. It flies, which is relevant. It keeps Pyro from making tokens. Yeah, it's like, I don't like a bunch, but I think I like 1 or 2. We'll try this. Okay. This hand kind of sucks. Yeah. I think I keep this one and bottom. We're probably dead to a Blood Moon anyway. I think I'm fine leaning into that with the Sagas. It's either a Saga or an Inkmoth though, for sure. I'm inclined to say, sure. All right, Seachrome, go. All right, Unlucky Witness, you got it. Saga plays Shadow Spear probably. Just get this artifact count up higher for the construct, so that way they live through single pings. Pretty reasonable. We did bring in the Path, right? I'm not crazy. We brought in the Needle, right? Okay, good. It's like shutting off Bombardment seems like a pretty huge deal here. Yeah, there you go. No attack? Okay. Well, that's nice, but I think I am just... Hushbringer could be real good. I think not making constructs is a problem, though. I mean, we could also go Hushbringer. I think we just make this. Wow, that was a tough draw. I think it is Hushbringer because they could also be a Fury deck, right? So now they do have to sack 2 things to kill the Hushbringer. I think with this first Saga, we're probably just going to go get a Drum anyway. I hope it's a... Oh, my... All right. Yep. Well, we knew this was a possibility. So, yeah. All right. Basic Plains or Drum, please. I'll take it. Honestly. All right. Get in there. Oof. All right. Well, at least Fury... And it's like, once again, I don't know for sure that Fury is in their deck, but I think it's pretty likely. Shutting off Seasoned Pyro is pretty nice. If we hit any non-Urza Saga land, we're in pretty good shape here. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. All right, things are not lining up well. Take 3, go to 19. So if we hit a land that's untapped, or that doesn't die, rather, we can just go Nettle Cyst here, which is not bad. Okay. And... pass, and now we're hoping to hit basically exactly a white source. Okay, gross. I guess the upside is now our Sanctifier is safer if we both draw it and a white source. But not super happy with our spot. Okay, perfect. They're all coming in untapped. That's the real trick. Yeah, I mean, we accepted the risk of Blood Moon blowing us out, and Blood Moon has sufficiently blown us out. Pretty sure we're not coming back this game. I mean, if they just don't have anything, I'm fine. It doesn't seem likely. Okay, I don't think there's a reason to play the hammer. I'm just gonna pass. Devil. So are we straight dead here? Get hit for 4? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then they sack the Devil. Yeah, okay. GG's. Assuming the opponent sees it, which they should. Yeah, Hushbringer is good. Oh, I guess they can kill us at instant speed, but it seems really weird to... doesn't matter, but we were super dead. All right, cool. I'll see y'all in round 4. All right, let's see if we can turn things around here in round 4. We are on the play again, which is pretty rad. Huge fan of that. So we have a hammer, an equipper, reasonable mana. Yeah, I mean, we keep this hand for sure. Against Gigantha the Wellspring, I think I do just go play Arid Mesa, Ornithopter, and then I can fetch Hollowed Fountain end a turn. And then we can play Stoneforge, go get hammer off of Ink Moth, and then we can animate Ink Moth to give us Metal Craft. Obviously, I would have liked to have a Sentinel or an Aid. Really just like, or a Giver would have been the real choice here. Okay, so it's the Domain deck would be my guess between Gigant. Yeah, okay. If we weren't sure before. And I will fetch out the Hollow, since we know we are not getting Blood. If they Blood Moon us, so be it. Really what we want, but okay. Yeah, go get a hammer. Leyline Binding is a pretty obnoxious card out of these decks because they used to just have basically no ways to answer a game 1 hammered creature. Obviously that's changed. So I'm hoping to hit a 0-drop artifact here. Yeah, specifically like Mantle would be truly busted. If they do nothing, if they just attack us and pass, I think I will untap, play a Plains and pass the turn, or play a Marsh Flats probably and pass the turn. But the reality is, like, we'll probably do the Plains. And then we can flash in the Stoneforge, or flash in the hammer off of the Stoneforge during their end step, and then untap Paladin and whack them. Because ideally we set up a board state where we have, okay, so they only have 4 types, where we have the ability to do Metal Craft even if they kill one of our green, red, so Kavu, I would imagine. I can't Scion. Oh, sure, Tribal. Okay, 0-drop. My kingdom for a 0-drop artifact. Specifically Paradise Mantle would be Chef's. That's really nice, actually. So we can go Marsh Flats, play Hammer. And now if their plan is to Leyline Binding, we have the Blacksmith skill up, and then next turn we can Paladin, animate, equip, hit them, and we're in good shape because we can Blacksmith skill through like a Leyline Binding or a Bolt or whatever. And if they have to fetch low enough to do that, we might just kill them if they go for the if they go to kill the Ornithopter in response to this equipping, because it will get +2/+2. So if they shock here, ooh, okay, green, white, Dramoka's Command. So I think I do save in response. No. Do not target the Nakatl. Cool, so now they can't even attack profitably. And if they had the Bolt, they would have bolted there, probably. So, yeah. Okay, I'll block. They subtle. They do have Stubborn Denial up with this Steam Fence. That's a really nice one because this gives us 3 artifacts. Okay, yeah, they don't block. And so ordinarily I would say leave the hammer here. I think we are supposed to leave the hammer there because if they have a removal spell that answers, so say they have exactly Leyline Binding, right? So they can Binding the hammer, but if they Binding the Paladin, because you could have bolts. What are you talking about? Yeah, so if I had animated, yeah, because they could block. Because I don't think I could give it flying again. Paladin is also currently a lethal threat. Yeah, so like now if I get to untap. Yep, okay, sure. So we do have a bunch of other things. They can't freely attack unless they also have more blockers, so they probably kill the Paladin here. Okay, Kavu, sure. About chat. All right, yeah. We do have a pile of hammers. Honestly, Giver's pretty good. Giver is honestly a good draw. So I'm trying to think if there's a reason to play out this land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we draw exactly, yeah, so it makes sense to play it out. Because if we draw land Cauldra in that order, I don't think it makes a huge, though, whatever. Even a Blacksmith skill would have done it there. That's funny. Okay, so they do have some real power in play. They have, 9 power. They are at 2, though. And so if they let me untap, I'm gonna protect the Paladin and try to attack for lethal. If you hear whining in the background, that's just my dog looking at other dogs. Okay, we won. Could not answer the Paladin. Okay, cool. So Blacksmith skill, very good. So Spell Pierce is a consideration because they usually have like Hidetsugu consumes all. But I'm pretty medium on it, so I don't know, frankly. Sanctifier is probably pretty good because most of their removal is red. Don't think we want Hushbringer. I like Path as like a one of. I also don't hate like a March because it can answer some of their cheaper threats pretty cleanly. Esper Sentinel is fine, but on the draw, not super excited about that card. Because I think our goal is to kill them. And we can probably trim a drum and 1 ornithopter. Okay. I mean, this hand's good, especially since they are not a Blood Moon deck. We know we are not getting Blood Moon, which is nice. Okay. So I think I'm just going Ginger Brute here. And we could play Ornithopter too if we want. I kind of like Ornithopter because if we just spike a hammer off the top, we get to 10 them. I am planning on blocking this monkey though with Ginger Brute. Usually we are the much more efficient deck, and so one of the ways they can win is if they're able to get a mana advantage. Okay, sure. This is fine. They had to use a card on the Ginger Brute. Okay, yeah, I'll take this hit. Ink Moth Nexus didn't really, it wouldn't have been a bad one. Not super hyped about it either, so it's fine. Yeah, maybe we're supposed to keep all the Esper Sentinels in just as ways to block Ragavan as well. So yeah, I'll probably bring him back in on the play. Kavu, sure. Okay. Okay, that's some fun little sneaky mana. But I think I'm gonna keep it simple and just go Aid, Mantle. And I think off this one, we're actually going to get a Cauldra to force the kill on the Stoneforge, because they don't know we have another Stoneforge here. And they did not reveal Gigantha this game, so they almost 1000% have Force of Vigor. That is something to note. Okay. So with that in mind, there is a consideration to play Lavinia here. I think I just take this hit, so I'm sure they're rummaging here. Grixis, okay. Oh, so they're missing white mana. So they can't currently Leyline Binding either. That's awkward. Yeah, I think I just take the hit here. Sanctifier. All right. Would have been nice. It's not doing anything for them. Honestly, I'm not as sure of the card. It does block Ragavan exceptionally well. But they do have like Wild Nacatl and Scion that can block it. So, maybe we don't. Maybe we just leave those out. Put the Esper Sentinels back in. I kind of like that. Okay, white mana. Are we Leyline Binding? Probably the Stoneforge. You got it. Makes sense to me. So I think I'm just going to go Stoneforge here and get a hammer, because that does let us protect the Stoneforge from a removal spell. No reason to attack. And so yeah, next turn we can potentially triple hammer, which is pretty good. All right. You got it. So they gotta get up here, right? We also are holding up Path, which is a nice little treat. Force of Vigor? Sure. Yeah, it's like, they had 5 types, right? Oh, double Scion. Okay. Okay. So the game's over because we get to just like throw a million hammers on stuff. And I think that is bugged, but it doesn't. It does not matter, so just take the big... Yeah, I'm not going to think too hard about this next one. I think I just go get Shadow Spear and then hammer. Could also like... So they have 8 toughness, so we have to get 21 damage across. Yeah, so 21 damage across. We can also just Path. This game is incredibly over. It's like, in what variety of ways can I win the game? All right, I get to untap, float mana here, and we're just gonna get a Shadow Spear. Why wouldn't it's 22 minus 8 is 14. I don't even need to do anything. Okay, right? I'm not missing any. 22 minus 4 is 8. All right, and I'll see y'all in round 5. All right, we are back for round 5. We did lose the die roll. It was bound to happen eventually, but let's see if we can finish strong. This hand is terrible. This hand's also like pretty bad. We have a couple of equippers, no hammers, and our mana's bad. This one's fine. So we keep 3 lands, probably Stoneforge Pierce. Okay, yeah. This is kind of rough, but that's fine. We just get to go Seachrome on 1. Oh, this is not what we want for the mirror match, I'll tell you. Okay. We're gonna have to let them have a... I will certainly. You're not paying for that. Okay. So they also just have like land paladin. That'd be real gross. Oh no. Now I want to hold up a second Spell Pierce. We could go tapped Hallowed Fountain. Honestly, I think our way to win this is with a Cauldra. So that's what we're going to do. I think this is our only potential route to victory, really. Like, reasonably speaking. Yeah, and sure. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't regret this. I think we made the plays we could with what we had. Got a block here. Okay. I mean, we're not technically dead, so Like if they're smart, they move the hammers around so that they hit us for, you know, you got it. Okay, so they had the true nuts hand for the mirror. Not much I could do. Okay, but we do get to bring in 5 cards. Yeah, I wish we had a little bit more, but we don't. So since we only have the 5, we're only going to cut 3 of these Sentinels and go from there. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was winning against that, basically, no matter what happened. Yeah, so we have Aid into Stoneforge. Yeah, this hand's a keep for sure. I probably will just fetch Shock now, because I'm going to have to at some point anyway. It was nice to... So they had the Aganjo and the Silent Clearing, which tells me they didn't have the splash, right? So we know we don't have to play around Spell Pierce. Yeah, especially with the Shadow Spear. It's like you just go hammer Shadow Spear, kill him. So I am going to want to hold up Pierce this turn. Okay. Yeah, no reason not to fetch here since we are going to pay. So they take 11 here and then they're dead the following turn. You got it, fam. No blocks. Absolutely not. No, that's not how you pay for a Spell Pierce. Cool. So they drew a card. That's fine. And now we win the game. Yep. And this is usually how I expect these mirrors to play out, right? Cool. And so game 3, I don't think anything's changing. Yeah, Esper Sentinel's even worse on the draw. So yeah, I'm not going to change anything. March is good. Path is good. All right. So we have a lot of good cards in this hand. Unfortunately, none of them are lands. Did they keep 7? They did. What a jerk. This hand's not going to win. Jeez. Okay, so we play Ornithopter, Mantle, Equip. This hand sucks. Wow, okay. Yeah, I guess we keep. This is a sad way for this one to pan out, but and I think yeah, we just do this. Oh, we're down to 3, that's right. Okay. Probably just this, right? At least then we can block. All right, yeah. And we're really praying here. I'm glad y'all were along for the ride. We we tried our best, I promise. All right, start us off, friend. Pretty good. Okay. All right. Yeah, because there was no reliable way for us to cast the Pierce. All right, so they just go get checks out. Okay. We can potentially win from here, assuming, the other 6 cards are nothing. Oh, that's the opposite of a nothing. At least they didn't have a Saga too, or okay. So they also have Paladin. All right. Did what we could. Sometimes there is not much to be done. Pro black, of course, because that is the color of the germ. Oh, okay. That's pretty big game. Yeah, so we just pass here. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully they do another hammer. Okay, they're not doing it. All right. Well, cool. All right. So you're saying there's a shot. So question is, what are we getting here? And the question is, how can we win, right? Of course, we drew the 1 Esper Sentinel. I think we have to grab Needle and probably name Shadow Spear. It's probably hammers, right? We probably just name Hammer. Or we name Urza Saga. Yeah. Okay. Because whatever equipment they get is just like going on their dude. But now at least they can't make any constructs. Okay. Yep. So we did mull the 3, so I don't feel too bad. So at least we get to block 3 of this. Block 3 of it cleanly. And of course, white. Okay. Honestly, I think we're supposed to Esper Sentinel here. Can't really attack, so we will not. Once again, like a March or a Path puts us in the game as well. Okay, block here. Okay, maybe they'll stack the triggers. Damn, they did not. Okay. Yep. GG's. What a meeting. Anyway, I'm going to review the first match, and I will see y'all in the recap as well. Cool. So as a recap, this is kind of where we landed on the list. I'm frankly like happy with it. The meta changed for sure, but the angles of attack for the deck didn't really change. Pierce has gotten better in the last couple months than it has been in the past. Lavinia, I think, is better than she's been, but it's a question of, do we have enough cards to cut for the 4-color matchups? And I'm not quite frankly sure. So I could see trimming like a Lavinia and a Hushbringer for like a Dranith Magistrate maybe, and perhaps like a Teferi. Or maybe just keep a Lavinia anyway. If I expect a lot of Amulet, and there's been a lot of Amulet in my local meta, I would probably play like one Prismatic Ending, because for the most part it does the same job, but it's slightly better against things like Murktide, because you just trade 1 mana for 1 mana with the Ragavan. Sanctifier's fine, but that's kind of where I land. I hope y'all enjoy and have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe. Got new content on the Patreon, of course, including a deck primer for why the last 10 cards in your deck don't really matter. The 50 core cards are really what makes the deck, and then you can kind of add in the spice as you like.